Hello, beautiful people. It is your boy, Coach Q, a.k.a. Mr. Awesome. We have another spectacular episode here with J.R. Big Dawg Johnson out of Jacksonville, Florida. I really appreciate him coming on board today to do this podcast with me. We got some great insights on what you need to do to be successful and how our industry can help you as far as this vehicle with the insurance world. If you haven't visited our site yet, it's www.legacywealthadvantage.com. Tune in to today's show. Tell me what you learned. Tell me what you don't. Send me emails at coachq@legacywealthadvantage.com. I want to know criticism. I want to know pointers. If you want to be on the show, if you got something to say, whether it's negative or positive, I need it. I want the feedback. Send it to me, people. Hope you enjoy the show. Let's get it. What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy, Coach Q, a.k.a. Mr. Awesome, a.k.a. Quentin Edwards. I'm doing an interview today with a very special person here. I got Mr. J.R. Johnson out of Jacksonville, Florida. We're going to be doing an interview today to talk about some real-world experiences in our industry, which is the life insurance industry. So I'm very excited to do this segment with him, and he'll see why shortly. We got some real world experiences of what we're going to share to hopefully get you excited about not only getting up, doing something as far as bigger, better opportunities in your life, whether it's this industry, whether it's just another industry. We just want to help you be a better you in life. So without further delay, here is my boy JR. JR, tell the people about yourself.
Hey Q, I appreciate you inviting me onto your podcast today. And my name is J.R. Johnson. I'm actually the Senior Regional Director for Senior Life Insurance Company, and I've known Q now for probably about a year, right? So about a year. Yeah, he's been trying to catch up with me. He's got too many AKAs though, but I only got one, and that's AKA Big Dawg. So, if you hear anybody say J.R. Johnson or Big Dawg, that's who they're talking about.
That's you, huh?
That's me.
So, JR, where exactly are you from originally?
Well, originally, long story. Originally I'm an Army brat, man. My dad was in the Army, and he was over in Germany back in the early '60s, and met my mom, and she was only kind of a long story. I don't tell him all my personal business, but she was young, man. She was 14 years old, and he was 24 years old, and he didn't know it. And then, she got pregnant with me. She had me when she was 15 years old. We lived over about 4 or 5 years. And then I've been all over the country. I lived everywhere from Las Vegas to Biloxi, Mississippi to Jacksonville, Florida, and all in between. So,
were you born in Germany?
I was born in Germany. I was raised in Germany the first 4.5 years of my life. And matter of fact, when I was a kid, that's all I could speak was German. So.
Wow. So that's like your first language?
Yeah, that's my first language, yeah.
Wow. Now that's interesting. So my mother, same background, settled down here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. She was born in Germany.
Okay.
But you have your United States citizenship because
when I turned 18, I joined the United States Air Force. Okay. And when you join the military for the U.S., you have to choose, because I had dual citizenship up to that point. And then at that point, when I got sworn into the United States Air Force, I had to choose which one I wanted to be. And of course, I chose to be a USA citizen, so I let go of that. But
that's awesome, man. So originally, you're from everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Yeah, that's what Army brats are, man. That's what Army brats are. But you know what? That plays real good into what I do, because when I was younger, when I was a kid, up to the time I was about 12 years old, we probably moved about 25, 26 different times. And during those times, you have to become somebody new. You have to reinvent yourself, because you're in a different area of the country, you're with different people, and in order to be liked, because nobody wants to be the outcast, right? So I kind of turn into a chameleon. And
that's where you get all these characters from.
That's where I get all these characters from, man.
So I see the way it played into your life versus someone like my mother. Any negative experiences that came out of that? Because I seen, again, that it attacked my mom a different way.
Yeah, the worst part of it was, like I said, when I was a kid, we moved, but by the time I was 12, we had moved like 25, 26 times. And, the worst part of it is I almost had a gypsy mentality for a long time. Up to the point to where I married my beautiful wife, Christy. 14 years ago we got together. Up to that point, I think the longest I'd ever lived in any position in any place was about 4 or 5 years. And then on top of that, the same thing with my careers, man. I get bored real easy. And so I worked as a real estate agent and a mortgage broker, and I did that for about 11 or 12 years, but it was something to where I didn't have to stay in the same place. I had a national license, so I could go sell in Las Vegas, I could go sell in Mississippi, I could go sell in Georgia. Right. So I didn't have to stay at one place or one company for any length of time because I got bored.
The good and the bad that comes with that, though, right?
There's good that comes with that. It keeps things fresh. It keeps things exciting, But the bad part of it is you when you're trying to build something that's going to last, when you're trying to build an agency or, like in our business that we do now, we've got some phenomenal residuals and stuff like that. And I'm still making a lot of residuals off of some other companies that I was with. But it took me a while to figure out. I got my license in 2008. But it took me a couple of years. 2011, I finally figured out after 3 years that I wanted to get in the final expense business. But I tried the broker route because, again, something new, something exciting. I had all these different options and all these different things I could do. And, finally about 2000, probably about 2013, I really fell into final expense and decided that's where I wanted my home to be.
So you've been in this industry as far as insurance since 2008, you said?
Since 2008, right.
So it's been a while. What is that, 13,
11 years.
11 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11 years. Who introduced you to the industry? What, who, how, why?
The funny thing is, I've heard other people say this, but nobody ever says when they're a kid that I want to grow up and be an insurance salesman. Insurance salesman's synonymous with a lawyer or, other things, used car salesman, right? People compare us to used car salesman all the time. But, and that's kind of what it was, to be honest with you. I had a friend who was doing, had an insurance business. Now it was a P&C license, and I didn't want to do all that, the rental and insurance and get into all that side of the industry. But he kept telling me, he said, man, you need to get in the insurance business. You need to get in the insurance business. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. Ain't no way. I'm not an insurance guy. I don't want to be an insurance guy. That's not me, man.
What held you back? I mean, because it's a scary world. Like you said, nobody grows up that wants to be a salesman or woman. But I know certain things click in your head that said, this is something that's going to put me here.
Well, I've been in sales. I actually been in sales. Like I said, I did real estate and mortgage broker, and I've been in sales since 1993. And I'd actually, my career-wise, I'd been a correctional officer and worked for Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for almost 10 years. And again, went to about 4 or 5 different prisons throughout that time as a correctional officer, moving around a lot. But when I left there, the reason I left was because I was barely making it. I was working 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week, and, making $22,000 a year, putting my life on the line every day. Wow. And I said, there's got to be something better out there. So I got a job selling ice. Now, wow, that sounds funny, right? Selling
hilarious.
ice. I sold bags of ice to Little Champ stores. Now, I had a route that went from Fernandina Beach all the way down to Bunnell, Florida, but I made 6 cents a bag, straight commission, no mileage, no hourly rate, 6 cents a bag, selling ice. And my first year, I made $35,000, almost double what I did working 10 years at the Sheriff's Department.
Wow.
So I said, sales is for me. I like sales. So I've been in sales for a long time. So the commission part of it wasn't what was scary. It was just I didn't really want to be an insurance agent. But, I'd worked, as a matter of fact, the last job I had before that, or second last job, I was a manager of a Lowe's store for about 3 years.
Done a lot, man.
And then I left there, and I my sister said, hey, I got this construction company. They're looking for a project manager. I said, well, I ain't never been a project manager in my life. Let me try that. So I came on as a project manager, and I was making good money. I was making about $1,700 a week. being a project manager, working 7 to 3, Monday through Friday. It was a great job, but construction was going downhill. That was 2006 when the market was falling out, 2007. So I said, you know what, I got to figure out something to do. And again, my buddy kept harping, you got to get in the insurance. You got to get in the insurance.
How long had this been?
Recession proof, So
I agree with that.
It was. He'd been harping on me for about 3-4 years. That I needed to do that.
How many flips of careers have you had since the 3 or 4 years he was just trying to get you? Were you at one place, or you were?
During that time, yeah, I was. I'd worked at 2 places. I'd worked for Lowe's. Now, with Lowe's, I started off as a lumber guy. I was the one that was loading the lumber into people's vehicles and stuff. And within, 6 weeks, I went to department manager. And then within about 8 months, I went to receiving department manager. Then I stepped up to admin manager. Then I stepped up to operations manager. And then I stepped up to store manager. Now, that's usually about a 10-year process, and I did that in a year and a half. So, again, I moved
that
real
leadership
fast.
Quality that you have upon yourself, where they really saw something in you, I'm guessing, correct?
That, self-discipline. I was the guy that always showed up to work, that always did what, I didn't wait to be told what to do.
Right.
I went in, I saw what needed to be done, I took care of it, took charge, and that, that's always been the way that I've been. Ever since, like I said, when I was a kid, we moved all the time. So as soon as I go into a new place, man, I had to take charge.
What? Because you have this demeanor upon you. Everybody talks about your demeanor, right? Because it's just something about you. No one knows, right?
Something about
It's
me.
just something about JR that you have this, if he wants something, let me see what I can do, you know what I'm saying? Or just, you're just one of those special guys. What can you tell us that can help us be a JR in life? What has helped you? Was it the military, your family background, or your upcoming, or some tragedies? I mean, what has really constructed you to be this awesome man that you are in life?
The biggest thing was, and now you're going to make me get all personal here, but the biggest thing was, my dad was a great provider for the family. He worked hard. He worked, 2 or 3 jobs, but my dad was a very, very rough, abusive guy. I'm not going to go into too many details,
right.
but the things that you tell your child are the things that can determine the outcome of their life. And, he told me a lot of negative things. He told me that I was never going to amount to be anything. He told me that I was stupid. He told me that I was worthless. He used all those kind of things amongst other things. And really my driving force, when I turned about 18 years old and joined the military, at that point in my life, my biggest thing was, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to prove everybody that I am somebody, that I am something, that I am capable of doing whatever I set my mind to. And I don't care what it is, you can't tell me I can't do that. That's just going to make me fight that much harder to get it done.
Come a long way, indeed, huh?
I've come a long way. It was a lot of conscious choices in life that I had to make to overcome that stuff. And even today, I'm not going to tell you my age, but I'm a little older, But even today, sometimes those things, they creep back into my mind. And again, it's, I have to make a conscious decision to not be the person that I was told constantly as a child that I was going to be. So
one of the things I do is, as far as that switch I made about 2-3 years ago myself, the way I condition my mind, right? That psychological shift is what I call it, to see the world in this completely different atmosphere, dimension, whatever terminology you want to use, is every day I'm filling myself with steps, workouts. I mean, it's all mental. Same stuff I used to get from my trial and error in life, which was football. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, that's either, sports, if they took it serious, or the military or something like that. Mine was the sports background and just applying that to different aspects in life. I just want to see, just on a deeper side, without going too deep, what are some of the little things that you do or have done or mm-hmm. probably still do to get that mental conditioning going for you? Because like I said, you're a different guy, right? You
Yeah,
sit down with somebody or you tell somebody to do something, it's like you can tell them, but you're saying it in the most respectful manner. You're like, it's like, I'm going to do it because JR told me to do it.
Yeah.
So, and then you have this, like you said, this thing about you where you're going to get it done. We're going to do it because JR is going to work his tail off to get it done, and that's not going to be an if, and, or but about it. So you've done some mental conditioning over your life, right?
I've done a lot of mental conditioning, and a lot of it was, again, my dad. Let me tell you the good part about my dad. He instilled my work ethic in me. Okay, like I said, he was a hard-working man. He worked 2-3 jobs at a time. But when I was 10 years old, and I'm going to go back a little bit here now. When I was 10 years old, we bought a piece of property that was 5 acres. And it was the thickest, most covered briars, trees, bushes, weeds, snakes. I mean, it was nasty. And at 10 years old, I had a chainsaw and a sling blade
Oh my God.
and a 20-inch push mower. And me and my dad cleared that 5 acres. So by the time I was 12 years old, I could work circles around grown men. And I was strong. When I was 14 years old, I'll talk about sports background for a second. I played one game of football as JV, and halfway through the game, coach come to me and he said, "You're starting varsity next week." I was running back. I was strong safety. I ran a 4.2 40, 4.3 40. I was fast. I was strong. Football season was over. Coach come to me, said, "You ever lifted weights?" I said, "Never touched a weight in my life." I weighed 147 pounds, and the first time I ever touched a weight, I bench pressed 225 pounds.
Wow.
So, I had a good sports career. Matter of fact, I was 15 pounds off the world record at age 19 for bench press. I weighed at that time I weighed 184, and I was bench pressing 545 pounds. So.
Wow. What you think you can hit right now?
Well, I'm old, got a bad shoulder and all that, but the other day I was trying out some stuff, and we did deadlifts and stuff like that. I can probably deadlift still about 350 pounds.
No, my highest benches ever was 405. So you've
405.
I
used to do 10 reps with that in the incline bench, man. But as far as mental conditioning goes, again, the big and let's just go back even a little bit more. I was raised in a Christian family. When I say that, my mother was probably the best Christian person I've ever met in my life, and probably the only reason that I'm still alive, to be honest with you, because there was times that she actually had to grab a hold of me and snatch me out from under what was going on, and we'd jump in the car and leave for a few hours for people to calm down. So I was raised in a Christian home, and my mother was a big part of that, and I think that my Christian faith plays a lot into where my inner strength comes from. Matter of fact, I kind of ran from God for a little bit, and when I turned, how old was I? Golly, I was about 46, 45, 44, 46, somewhere in there. I actually decided to quit running and went to seminary school and got my bachelor's degree in theology, and actually pastored a church for a long time. So a lot of my inner strength and mental strength comes from just from God Himself.
Your faith has definitely been a determining factor of what shapes you.
Oh yeah.
Do you listen to tapes, books?
Every day.
Meditate.
Every day. I have a devotional. I do my, you can call it meditation if you want to, but I do my silent prayers and my devotionals every day. And one of the things that I tell people all the time is that you got to be mentally prepared to be successful. It's not something that comes easy. And one of the things that I do for that, obviously, is again, my faith is what keeps me grounded. But like when I go to the gym, I'm always listening to motivational videos and watching motivational tapes. And I've read tons of books, Zig Ziglar, Tom Watkins, just everything I can get my hands on. But that's kind of what I do.
So in regards to your career,
mm-hmm.
you've been doing this for 11 years. What really made you go from doing Mr. Everything to just one thing? What was that shift like, and what helped inspire that for you?
It was hard. It was really hard, but I think the biggest part of it was that I realized that there's not a whole lot of, and I say this with all humility, there's not a whole lot of J.R. Johnsons out there that can juggle 13, 14 different things at one time. And I was having a real hard time. I could bring people on, I can get them pumped up, I can get them out there selling some stuff, but I was having a hard time keeping people because there was too much. Yeah, it was too complicated. It was too many things to learn, too many different carriers, too many different medication lists, and you could go here for this or that for the for somewhere else.
And you came up in the day and age where it didn't have all this technology, where it's a little bit
right. So
easier.
My trunk I used to laugh, but I had 6 milk crates in my trunk with folders for all my different carriers. I had different paperwork. When you go into a house, you had no idea who you were going to sell, so you didn't take anything in with you other than just basically your notepad, and then you'd be in the middle of really getting this thing done. You'd have to get up and go out to the car to get the right to go get the right application, go get the right paperwork, and it was overcomplicated. So I was really looking for something that was simplified, something that was streamlined. And I went to our competitor. I used to work for our competitor,
right.
And I did very well over there. That's where I figured out that one product and one company is the best way to go. And I did pretty good. I made over $250,000 a year, and
of course,
I was doing very well. But I'm one of those guys that's always looking to grow, always looking to expand. So I actually looked at this opportunity with Senior Life for 3 years before I decided to come on board, which is unusual. Usually I jump from one thing to the next, but I really sat back, and I give a lot of that credit to my wife. My wife keeps me grounded too. She's a very she's my soulmate, man, and we discuss everything, we talk about everything, and she kind of made me do the weighs and balances on everything. And even when, quick story, and I don't know if you know this or not, but when I came over to Senior Life, she was mad at me, man. She was like,
because you left a high-paying job.
I left a $250,000 job. She was all secure and doing well, and she was like, well, I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea, and just something in my heart told me, that I needed to make a move, and it was things that I didn't see yet, things that were coming down the pipeline that I didn't see yet. But so I made the decision to do it on my own, and then went home and told her that I did it. So we didn't talk. We did not talk for about 3 days. It was tough. It was tough. But I will tell you, probably about 6 months in or 7 months in, she actually came to me, and I'm glad you're recording this because nobody ever will believe it. But she came to me and said that she was wrong, and it was a great thing that I made that move, and she really was happy that I'd done it. So
everything works out.
Everything works out. So
to be honest with you, I don't know why I understand why she was upset, but she should know, like I do, JR's gonna make money anywhere.
She knows that now. Matter of fact, we were talking about this trip this morning, and I told her, I said, honey, man, this place is expensive. She said, don't worry about it. She goes, you're going to make all the money you need. I'm like, I know, but still, this place is killing me.
Yeah, it's an expensive place right here. So you've come to a point where I define my true success in life, because I don't think I'm just all talented, special person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you've come somewhere where I can do it, but I want to help other people do it.
Right.
And that's why you've had to find a system that was less complicated. Because talking to me back in the day, you wouldn't have got me. I would have been like, I'm going to keep moving to see what else I can find. I'll come back to you.
Right.
Because, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Of course, this technology's made it better. I don't even really see the stuff that you had to go through, but if I had to at this point in my career, I just have to do it type stuff. But I define my success as I need people to help me be successful in life, to make money, to accomplish goals, because you can make all the money in the world. You're going to get lonely without that team, that support system in your background, right?
Well, and it's not really about being lonely. It's just about, like I said, I'm really grounded in my faith. And one of the things that I learned a long time ago was that, we're on this earth to be servants. We're not on this earth to be takers.
There you go.
And I think, I look at it and I know that this is part of me being a servant, part of me being a minister to people, to other people, not just the people that we deal with on a daily basis, but people that come into my organization. I take them in. Matter of fact, there's 2 or 3 of them that, they literally look at me as their dad because they didn't have a real big father figure in their life. And, for me to be able to make an impact, to change somebody's life, to be able to get them to the level that I'm at and even beyond is actually at this point more satisfaction to me than me being successful, because I've been successful before. I've been successful in the retail field, I've been successful in other fields, and I've been successful in the insurance field. So it's not, I don't mean to downplay it, but it's not a big deal anymore. So now I get, obviously I still like money,
of course,
but I get my satisfaction out of helping and seeing other people be successful because I've pushed them, because I've given them purpose, I've given them direction, and it's it bleeds over into their family life, it bleeds over into their personal life and their ideals. It's just like right now I'm on this mission to get back in shape, and part of that's because Q got on my butt, right? What'd you tell me last time? Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you a funny story real quick. So I got all this food on my plate, and Q is standing behind me, right? And I get to the table, I look down on my plate, and there's a big old giant leaf of lettuce laying on top of my plate. And I look up, and ain't nobody close to me but Q. I said, Q, you put some lettuce on my plate? He said, brother, you got to get some green stuff in you. so part of it was your fault that I'm on this mission now to get in shape. But that's a good thing. Because, one of the things is that, I see some of these older people that have a lot of health issues, and not only do I want to be here long term, obviously for my wife and my children, my grandchildren, and maybe even my great-grandchildren, but, if you look at any successful, and I'm talking about really successful organization, and you look at the leadership, and you look at those people, 99% of the time, not only are they mentally fit, but they're physically fit.
Got to be both.
You got to, something I said on one of my little videos the other day is you got to have your spiritual, your mental, and your physical in line to be successful.
Took the words right out of my mouth. This is something I talk about on another one of my shows. Not to go too deep into it. Wealth is health. Mm-hmm. It's literally the moral principles that we live and abide by to help people.
That's right.
You have to have all 3 to live in a perfect world, because most people have 2. Mm-hmm. And some people only have 1. Some of the people we talk to on a day-to-day basis,
right, with
their health and mental conditions not being there.
Yep.
So to live that truly fulfilled life, you have to have all 3.
That's
and
right.
A lot of people lack all 3.
Body, mind, and soul, baby.
Got to come together. So let's touch on one more subject: the name.
The name.
What is the name of your organization?
The name of my organization is Legacy Advantage Group.
Now, of course, we're going to go into the uniqueness of it, but where did you come up with your name from?
There was actually several things that came into it, and the biggest thing was obviously we are part of a company called Legacy Assurance. Okay, so I wanted that to be in there, and then the company that I came from, okay, their product, what really made them famous, was called Funeral Advantage. Okay, so Legacy Advantage. So put those 2 together, and then I was like, you know what? I want to create a legacy for people. I want them to be able to create a legacy through this organization. So, and then one more step after that, the top guy in that company that I used to be with, the name of his company is Tailored Legacy. So I said, from a marketing viewpoint, anybody types in legacy, they're going to get J.R. Johnson on that page somewhere. So, and Legacy Advantage. So that's kind of how that all came about, man. But
so you obviously are a true inspiration to a lot more people than you know, including me, because obviously I got a branch off yours, because I was searching for my name for the agency, not even my agency. The name of my company is Legacy Wealth Advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
The name of my actual agency is Coach Q's recruiting agency. Legacy Wealth Advantage is the bigger overall picture as far as that huge corporation I'm building in my mind to make a reality one day. And obviously it came straight from you. I mean, just searching, and then, I get on GroupMe every now and then to look at Josh, see what he's doing, and just see what's going on. And I just looked at your name, and I was like, Legacy Wealth Advantage. And then, of course, I kept coming up with names, and they were taken.
Mm-hmm.
Either the LLC was taken, the domain was taken, or both. Right. I said, it's open. I typed stuff in the database for the businesses. Mm-hmm. It was open. I said, God. Yeah. Because I'm frustrated. when you think so hard on something, you want it just to be perfect, make sense, and everything click. All I had to do was add wealth in there. Because the whole point of, again, me is wanting to help people. The whole vision point of my company is I've been in a life where I've lost my purpose. When I messed up in sports, had it, fumbled it, it went away, the opportunity went away. That's all I knew. Yeah. So at a young age, trying to figure out that next step, when you was trying to already do it, because people say football is going to go away one day anyway, I was going to take football and use that momentum to do some other things in life, but it didn't happen. So I literally lost purpose and a vision and a dream, and just literally just called being depressed in life. And that's not a good feeling. No. So when I started dreaming again, finally, it made sense to me what my purpose in life was for. And I wanted this ultimate company to make sense as far as how I'm going to help people do that. I'm going to help them build a legacy, because when I die one day, because we all got to die, I want to leave a legacy where I'm still talked about.
Exactly.
It's a lot of people that are long gone, and we still talk about them, right? I want my legacy, a company, something to be talked about, because even now, as young as I am, I've seen classmates go, car accidents, drunk driving, killed. Yeah. I've seen people get killed in front of me. I mean, it's that anxiety in you that's like, I'm just going to be somebody talked about for a day or two, and what else? Yeah. And then at that point in life, of course, I'm even down on myself anymore. I don't think anybody is going to really care about me other than maybe my mom, as far as thinking about me. So to wake people up and expand their thought on as far as thinking bigger, better for themselves, to what are you living for? Because a lot of people don't live with a purpose, and that's why they just kind of go through life, blah, blah-de-da, without this clear vision statement as far as what are you here for and what's your purpose. And then I added wealth in there, and a lot of people think that's for just money. Money's important to me, by all means, as far as it's as important as breathing, right? Because you need money for everything. Yeah. A lot of people underestimate
money
that.
Don't make you happy, but it can make you better.
Yeah. a lot of places in the area in this life, at least, because I mean, trying to do some things in life for free, you won't get many places. You'll get somewhere, but not many places. Not like how you want to. But wealth is that abundance that you give in life, and to give something, you got to have it. And you got to be good at it, and you got to know what you're doing and talking about, which me tying health and finances in that, between the two shows and the two things and the two messages that I'm spreading in life, I want to help people find that wealthiness, that fulfillment in life, right? To spread abundance to self. Because usually when people have an abundance of something, they tend to spread it, right? Such as yourself. Yeah. I'm good in this area where I know so much about it. I have so much of it, whether it's money or knowledge. I'm going to spread it to the world, because what am I going to do with it after I'm gone? And then you got the advantage. You just want to I'm going to do all this stuff for you and help you have an advantage of doing these things in life.
Yeah.
So literally all this stuff is a connection of tying together for the bigger overall picture. And I really appreciate you. I don't know how long it took you to come up with your actual name, but after looking at yours and then just it just came clicking together, and I took it from there, and I love it, as you can see.
Yeah.
I wear it everywhere. It's my pride and joy, and it's as new as it is. I just know where it's going to be towards the end of my life, and something to be proud of.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I'll always be able to tell the story, even when you're long gone, because you are a lot older than me. You'll still live on in my memory.
You never know, man. You never know. Now, don't tell me that. I might live to be 110 just to prove you wrong.
You live to be 110. I'll still be way behind you if I'm still here. So I'll definitely still be talking about JR. You know, I know this guy named JR. He helped come up with this $100 million company's name.
That's right. That's right.
And
I like that. 100 million. Claim it. That's right.
Yeah, all day.
That's right.
All day. So anything else you want to share with the people as far as what the JR story can do to help build them up in life, physically, mentally, spiritually?
You know, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it with this: that there's a lot of people out there that blame their childhood, their circumstances, their marriages, their parents, the area that they grew up in. They blame a lot of other people for where they're at in life. But I learned a long time ago that life is about choice. And every choice you make, whether it's a good choice or a bad choice, has a consequence. So if you're going to make a choice anyway, why not make the right one? Why not make a good one? And why not take advantage of it? And
any shout-outs you want to do?
Any shout-outs?
The company, Facebook, go ahead, man.
No. Legacy Advantage Group, man. Legacy Advantage Group. But, just shout out to, obviously my, like I'd mentioned earlier, my wife is, she's my rock, man. She's my soulmate. And I wouldn't be the JR that you know today without her. We've been together for a long time. Been married 12 years this year, but been together for a long time. And it's like we've been meant to be together forever. So definitely shout out to her. Shout out to, Billy Pilcher and Mike Pozo and, Mitch Connors. There's a bunch of people that have inspired me to step up. A lot of times, and even now, still because of the situation I told you about earlier, sometimes people see a lot more in me than what I see in myself. And it's because of people like that and people like yourself and that sometimes push me to take that next step or that next level. So big shout out to all them, man.
So this is a little fun fact for me before we go. You went from average salary of what a year?
You mean when I was
just everything else?
Everything else, like
except for the insurance world.
Yeah, except for the insurance world. I mean, I probably I made good money. Whenever I was a store manager for Lowe's, I was making about $75,000 or $80,000, but I was working, 90 hours a week.
No time. I already know how it goes. Walmart.
Yeah, I was making. I was working 80, 90 hours a week. Because as a manager, as a store manager, especially, anybody calls out, you're the one that's got to cover. You got to be there. So
I commend those type of people because I've seen it. I worked at Walmart. And again, when I was going through my little spending life as far as figuring out what I wanted to do, I knew that wasn't it because I've always felt out of place just being at a job. Never knew why. And it just wasn't for me, right? When I went to work, I swear, I would get there, be there 2 hours, and be like, I swear to God, I thought I was here for 9 hours or so. I thought I was. I mean, like
the problem is, and we always, we always call a job just over broke, But the problem is that most people either have money or time, but they never have both.
It's very hard.
And that's really what this opportunity has brought to my family, and that's what I'm trying to bring to other people's families to give you money and time.
Yeah, because you're gonna lose time. basically, it's not impossible to make six figures working for somebody, but it is kind of impossible to make six figures working for somebody plus have time for yourself as far as what you want to do in life and your family and just time, period.
Well, I'm not going to give you all my numbers, but I'll give you a fun fact, okay? A fun fact is last year I averaged about $300 an hour.
$300 an hour. Do the math, people. I think I kind of already know it. That's out in my head. So
yeah,
you went from you said 50 to 75 to about $300,000 a year.
Yeah.
So a little more, a little less, probably a lot more than that. He won't tell us. He won't tell us.
No.
So, but the facts are there, and again, his best year, he already told me he was working 3 days a week.
Yep.
That's still unbelievable.
Yep. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days a week.
That's one hell of a closing ratio, I'll tell you that. But it's not impossible. People have done it, and it's a great opportunity. I've talked about it in past podcasts. I'll talk about it in future podcasts. It's just a way to start expanding yourself as far as how to think bigger. Because, again, that 9 to 5, it wasn't anything about it that you should feel some type of way for liking your 9 to 5 job. It's not the point of this. It's to think bigger and understand that there is better out there for you, because every 9 to 5 job I've researched, unless you've gone to school and put yourself in a whole bunch of debt and have no time, you're not making enough money to live. Not in this world.
I'll give you another little hint. I make 6 figures just in overrides and residuals.
Okay.
Okay. So there you go.
And that's with everything, or just in your life?
Oh, that's just in your life. That's just in your life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So think bigger, be bigger, and do bigger things, and what you expect out of life is exactly what you'll get. I appreciate you for tuning in. Please tune in again for more future podcasts. As usual, it's been cool. It's been real. It's your boy, Coach Q. Y'all have a beautiful day. See you next time.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.